Hello, I'm Steve Johnson, Farm Management Specialist with Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. Marketing new crop. Cost of production is key and likely the first step. In marketing new crop bushels, good records can help determine your cost of production. You need to estimate your profit margin and then start to compare those harvest delivery prices. You have roughly 2.5 years to sell a crop before the crop is actually harvested. So I'll challenge you to think about new crop marketing in this context of focusing on knowing your cost and profit margin. An example might be the use of ISU Extension Publication A120. Every January, Iowa State releases our estimated cost of crop production. A recent view would be a rotation of corn following soybeans with 3 different objectives of what might be a reasonable yield on that farm or those particular fields. And by estimating costs and determining what would be a reasonable price, we can then harvest the crop and come back to calculate a cost estimate on a per bushel basis. In this example, we're using our medium yield of 180 bushel per acre, and we're calculating what we think might be a cost estimate on a per bushel, and that's $4.23 for this example of corn following soybeans. The importance of having a good record-keeping system and being able to calculate estimate of cost on a per acre and eventually a per bushel basis. Seasonal corn futures. This is a line graph, if you would, of 25 years of data where we've indexed December corn futures from January until December. And what we can start to see that typically over this 25-year period, corn futures, new crop December, tend to rally in the spring months, March, April, May, and June. But by the summer months, and especially into harvest, we start to see the decline on average in December corn futures. This we call the seasonal trends. Now, soybeans have seasonal trends. They're somewhat similar to corn, but again, they favor the spring and perhaps the summer months. Now, not every year is the same, but over this period of time, indexed by year, we can start to see the likelihood of futures prices on average being higher in the spring and the summer months as opposed to the late summer and fall. In fact, we tend to see in both line graphs the harvest lows around late September or early October, where we also see the widest basis of the year. Crop insurance is an important consideration made every year. What we note in Iowa is revenue protection is used on over 95% of all of our insured acres. There's a variety of different types of crop insurance products that's available. But in the state of Iowa, in 2015, over 96% of those insured acres of corn were using revenue protection. And over 95% of those insured acres of soybeans. Let's use this revenue protection crop insurance and let's incorporate it into a crop marketing strategy that we could commit bushels to delivery. Let's say in this example, your actual production history, your APH, was 170 bushel per acre on corn. Again, the APH reflects the most recent 10 years that you grew corn on that farm. So our APH is 170. On or before March 15th every year, you need to determine what product and level of coverage you're going to insure that year's crop. In our example, we're going to use an 80% level of coverage. Again, the choice for revenue protection will be 65 to 85%. So an 80% level of coverage. Therefore, 80% of 170 is 136 bushel per acre. Those bushels are guaranteed. For crop insurance purposes, you have guaranteed bushels, and using revenue protection, you also use what we call the projected price, or the February average for December corn futures for 2015. So using RP, multiply your guaranteed bushels times the projected price, and this becomes your revenue guarantee for growing corn in 2015. Those bushels, 136 bushel per acre, are guaranteed at $4.10 a bushel. My marketing strategy will entail trying to sell when December futures are above the price level. Now, not all bushels are guaranteed. So the deductible bushels, or in this case, 34 bushel per acre, do not have a yield or price guarantee associated with them. So my marketing strategy for new crop is this. I could pre-harvest sell for delivery, forward cash contract, perhaps an HTA, up to 136 bushel per acre. You say, well, what if the prices rally once I've already marketed those bushels? Well, the revenue protection uses two price guarantees. The higher of the projected price, the February average for December corn futures, or the October average. The February average is called the projected price, and the October average is called the harvest price. Each year you get the higher of the two. So if futures prices rally and you've forward sold bushels, you still are guaranteed at least the projected price, and if the harvest price is higher, you get a new revenue guarantee. Now, I'm not encouraging anybody to commit to delivery all 136 bushel per acre because there is a slight basis risk. Should there ever be a year that the cash price at harvest is actually higher than the futures price. So again, use a degree of caution and not commit all those bushels to delivery. Again, you've learned to use other tools such as futures hedging or the use of options in addition to forward contracts and HTAs. You also must plant the crop because inside revenue protection is the requirement that the crop must be planted and that you will use good management skills in maintaining the crop. If you would happen to be prevented from planting, you'll only be able to collect 60% of your revenue guarantee. So for those farms that are prone to prevented planting claims, I'm suggesting that you be not as aggressive in a marketing strategy of new crop and perhaps consider using the other tools that you've learned about through this video series. When I look at the use of crop insurance in a pre-harvest marketing plan, I'd like to lay out the last 10 years where the black line is actually the projected price. That's that February average of December corn futures. Then I'll overlay the harvest price, which is the October average of December corn futures. Now, my goal in a marketing plan of new crop would be, I want to try to sell in the spring months, March, April, May, June. But what I've done is I've recorded in the red diamonds the highest December corn futures price each of those years over the last 10 years. And what you'll see is that in 8 of those 10 years, the December corn futures price was actually higher than the harvest price. This should be an incentive to say that I can incorporate crop insurance revenue protection into a pre-harvest marketing plan. And again, reduce some of the price risk that I have. I've done the same with soybeans. The black line is the projected price using November soybean futures each year. The green line is the October average or the harvest price. And again, just as we saw in corn, this period of time of March 1st to September 30th. Almost every year you've seen this opportunity to pre-harvest sell a portion of your bushels, of new crop bushels, committed to delivery using revenue protection, because revenue protection guarantees not only bushels at a level of coverage, but price at the higher of, the projected price, the February average, or the harvest price, the October average. What are some key points regarding new crop marketing? Good records can be used to determine your cost of production. You need to estimate your profit margin and compare that to harvest delivery prices. And these could be harvest delivery prices for more than just 1 year. Again, lock in profit margins when they're available and avoid cost of ownership, especially long-term cost of storage. When we look at seasonal futures price trends, they tend to favor crop futures prices that are higher during the spring and summer months, year in and year out, but it's not a promise. And we could utilize revenue protection, crop insurance, to complement your pre-harvest marketing plan. I'm Steve Johnson, Iowa State University, Extension and Outreach.